few years. So cycling, why cycling? I know it's a very physically active sport, but what other benefit we can actually discover through cycling? Share your insight on cycling. Thank you.
Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me? Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, all right, fine. Okay,
Yes.
fine, right. Well, thank you, Nassim, for that introduction. I mean, just before I go on the benefits of cycling, I would just like to say, first of all, that I've been riding since I can ever remember, maybe 3 years old. So I've been riding for a very, very long time. And I mean, I've been one of those young people that just loved bikes when I was young. I mean, one of the examples I'll give you is that when I had the bike first time, is that I didn't know how to ride a bike. So basically, those are the days when you had a bike. There's no stabilizers at all. So basically, you had to lean off a wall and see how far you could go until you fall off. So basically, it was literally you learn like that. And one of the things that happened on the first day I learned how to ride a bike, I went home. My mum saw me and she fainted. The reason being is that because I tried so hard to learn how to ride a bike, I had hit my head and there was like lots of blood here, all down here, dried. I didn't even notice. So basically, I've been one of these people that is a pretty nutcase cycler, like love cycling, and it doesn't matter hot or cold, wind or wet or whatever, I love cycling. So every country I've gone to in my life, I've done some cycling somewhere. And for me, when you travel by cycle, it probably is, in my view, probably the best way to see a place, a country, a location, because you go at the pace at a reasonable place where you can absorb the heat, the light, the sun, and so it has a huge impact. So in terms of actually what it does in terms of mental health and stuff, I mean, there are lots of whole body exercises that are really great for positive mental health, but there's lots of studies that have been found that there's a combination of exercise and exposure to the outdoors is a bit of a magic combination for emotional and mental health. And cycling is now considered to be a key therapeutic component of any strategy to combat depression, anxiety, and stress. So cycling comes up and again, and there are numerous mental health benefits. Firstly, that it improves your mood. Now, how does it does that? Cycling pumps blood around your body at a greater rate, which allows for the rapid spread of endorphin and other good substances like dopamine and serotonin. So what are endorphins? I mean, what are they? I mean, when we exercise, our body releases chemicals called endorphins, and which are chemicals that produced naturally by our nervous system to cope with pain or stress. And they're often associated with, they're called feel-good chemicals because they can act as a pain reliever and a happiness booster. Dopamine, it plays a role with feeling pleasure, and it's released when your brain is expecting a reward. So like basically, sometimes, when we've all been there, Jared Bay is not here, you see, but on a Saturday night, he likes Saturday night because he likes counting stuff. So when he's counting stuff, you get a buzz, and it raises the dopamine level. So basically, it's the same thing with whether you do shopping, whether you enjoy certain food, and we're all Bangladeshis on the call here, and we love food. So the same experience, dopamine happens when you like something. And if you can associate that with cycling, what happens? It raises the pleasure and the reward in you. The last thing in that field is serotonin, and that comes like a hormone that stabilizes the mood and feelings of well-being and happiness. And what that does is basically it helps with sleeping, eating, and digestion in our body. So firstly, it improves your mood. Secondly, it promotes mental health, and that means, as Rule said, self-esteem, depression, anxiety, and stress all are correlated with positive exercise. And cycling, like football, has one of the most effective activities for head and heart to do that. The third is about sleeping. Now, if any of you have cycled, or Masumbai has cycled, and Ruman has cycled, but when you do and Rule has cycled, when you do a long stint and you are tired physically, what it does is actually has your circadian rhythm, and it reduces the stress levels and your hormones. And then when you're so tired, what happens? It gives you a proper regenerative deep sleep, especially if you're having difficult time sleeping. The next thing it does is it improves your memory. So riding is like building a new brain cells every time that you ride. It also improves creative thinking. So the regular uniform movement of cycling has a relaxing effect on the brain, stabilizing both physical and mental function. So I was on a big NHS board for about 6 years, and there were some very high-profile people on the board, and they all cycled. I mean, they're all on very high salaries as well. And when I sat with one of the guys, he was quite inspiring because he was about 67, 68 years of age, okay? And he was one of the most fittest people I ever come across, because this guy did triathlons, did all of these kind of things. But one of the things I asked him is, how did he become so fit? He said, what I did was twice a week, I did some sort of sport. One of those usually was a cycling spin for 20 miles, 30 miles, or whatever it might be. And I did that regularly for like 30 years. And he had more energy than we did, and we were like half his age. So it's quite amazing to see that. The other thing it does, gives you calmness and well-being. So cycling does promote calmness inside us, and it's sort of a form of meditation almost. When you're in the zone of cycling, it's like sort of you can think of certain things, and the aspect of your heart, the final physical aspects, it gives you, it helps you lose weight, as we all know, increase your cardiovascular strength, reduces your heart attack levels. It's strong on your muscles, fitness, joints, and if you do 20 miles, every 20 miles of your cycling journey is about 1,000 calories. So if you did, I think Masumbai the other day, I think about 50 miles. So about 4,000 miles, 4,000 calories. So, it's like 3,000 calories. You can burn that kind of level. There's no sport you can really burn that in that sort of way. So the final thing that it has on the brain, this is the part that I would say I'll spend a little bit of time on, is that your brain on biking grows. So you grow your brain when you cycle, because it's the same way that we grow our muscles. Blood flows to our brain, increases it, and with that, so does the muscles, and we have more oxygen nutrients. It produces proteins, so it increases, creates new brain cells by 2 to 3 times the norm. It brings the functionality of the brain as well. So it's a natural decline as we get older, but it counteracts that as we do that. And the final thing is about social benefits, because if you imagine you've got a group of people and you cycle with them, it's very rarely that you'll spend 3 hours with somebody in something. But when you are cycling with somebody, you can have if it's early morning, you can have a chat with them, and you have a time with somebody in a group of people that you wouldn't normally do. So it's a really good also process to have a lot of social benefits, especially with what we are in at the moment in the lockdown and stuff. So yeah, I wonder if that helps.
Thank you, Ali Bhai.